I'm Bridget, and my husband gifted me with a whole pile of old denims, which I decided I wanted to do some recycling projects with and make something interesting with. Well, I did a bunch of research and I realized that denims aren't just denims. There's two basic processes with your denim that you're going to want to do. So you have a pair of jeans. You can see there's a lot of flat felled seams. Those of you who don't know what a flat felled seam is, it's a doubled seam where there's no raw edges sticking out. They're nice and thick, and for a lot of your projects, they're not really sensible to use. But then there's projects that there's a lot of fun to use them for. Then you've got the main fabric, which you can use to make other things with. So basically what we're going to do here, and of course there's some frayed edges, which we don't want at all. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut off cuffs. This is a cuff off the bottom of the pants. So we're going to cut that off and then take out what we don't want. That's garbage. We've got a cuff. Then we're going to take out the flat felled seams, which this is a flat felled seam. So we're going to take the flat felled seam out and we're going to cut right next to the edge of it, leaving as much of the main fabric for us as possible, and also less to fray and mess with when we use the little flat felled seams in the projects that we're going to use those in. So we'll proceed like this. There's some flat felled seams there in the middle. I'm cutting across them. Go back down the next leg, and the longer these flat felled seam pieces are, the better, because then you can use them to wind them around in some projects. And the project I have in mind is a flat mat where they zigzag these flat felled seams together. So, and it's a nice heavy, obviously, project because it's going to be made with triple layers of flat felled seam. And we're going to come back the other way. Don't want that in the way of our camera there. And we'll come back the other way, and we're just going to cut it off right next to the fabric. And this doesn't have to be real perfect because we're just going to, this is going to be all zigzag together, and they don't have to be perfectly anything. So, alright. Here's a nice long piece of flat felled seam. Okay, now you can see we're starting to have large pieces of regular fabric open in the middle here. Cut off that frayed edge there. Alright. Now we're to the middle of the fabric. We're going to cut out this flat felled in the crotch here. Then we're going to take out the pockets. There's actually some projects on the line that are fun things that you can do with the pockets, or you can even zigzag them into some projects. Same as with the yoke and the waistband. So we're going to cut those all out because truthfully they're useless for projects in which you want to use regular fabric. And since I can't really use the fabric around this, I'm going to cut the pocket area out with little fabric around it. Here we are. I'll leave the pocket here, the little fabric, and it's its own little world. So here's a pocket. And then we've got some more flat felled seams up here in the yoke and the waistband. So we'll decide if we want to cut that pocket across here too. So there's another pocket. And then basically we've got this waistband. You could probably cut this waistband with this edge of this flat fell here on the pocket. Let's cut it all the way up here. And if you want to, and you're super thrifty, you could recycle the zipper. There is a zipper it's a heavy-duty zipper, and if you haven't trashed the zipper, and that's not why these jeans are now being disposed of, you could save that too. Now the zipper seems to go down pretty far past the stitching. Here. We don't want to wreck our scissors on a piece of brass, so we're going to cut down a little bit. And then you might throw that in its own project here to save a zipper if you need a heavy-duty zipper for maybe a bag or purse or something. So here's some flat fell off this pocket. It's my flat felled seam. And then we've got the waistband. And we've got some more, if we cut off that, the yoke. There's a nice flat fell in this yoke. How did I get that one off so easily? There we are. So there's some more flat felled seam. And then we have the waistband. And once again, we're going to want to come around here and get that pocket section. So we get the flat fell from the pocket. The actual pocket is kind of getting in my way here. There. So now we have another little piece of flat fell. We don't want that pocket stuff on there. And we've got the waistband in case there's something that we want to use it for. We could always take these belt loops off and zigzag it in as a wider place in with the flat felled seams. So it's not an altogether bad item either. So we're just going to cut off the bad stuff here that we don't want and put that in with the flat felled seams. We've got another thing we picked up. So now we have a bag of flat felled seams, so we're going to put in one bag. We have some pockets, a zipper. So we're going to set those all aside. Now we have our main piece of fabric. Missed a little flat fell on the front crotch, but it's not very big. I'm not sure we'd use it for anything, but we'll put it there. So now you have to decide if having a seam in your large piece of fabric is beneficial or not to your project. If you're cutting strips and going to be braiding rug sections, or if you're going to crochet, you're going to decide, I want this all torn up into 1/2-inch strips, or I want it in 1-inch strips. Or if you're going to cut out a project like a purse or a bag or something, you may want this seam in here. So for now, until I really know what I'm going to do with this project, I'm going to leave my fabric itself with none of the lumpy stuff on it, just with the seam down the middle. So now I have this large piece of fabric to do other projects with. So as you can see, one pair of jeans yields quite a bit of supplies for quite a bit of different projects. So maybe you'll want to come back when I zigzag together my flat felled seams. And what I'm going to do with my main portion of this is I'm going to make a rug, which I read about and I've seen, and it's pretty interesting. It's a sewn rug. And I'm just going to leave these large pieces of fabric in one section.